I'm hoping that we can discuss before we open up the lines. And that's a letter that we got from the Teachers Union. Now, I'm told that letter was delivered Friday afternoon at about 3:45.
We have a copy of it here.
I don't know if you want to read it.
Yeah, Jupiter, could you pull up that is the letter that I sent. Yes, that's the one. Could you just pull it up first, please, if you don't mind, and let me just share it with the listeners. This letter is coming from the Director of Education. That's the one you're speaking about, sir?
Correct.
Director of Education and Sports, Ministry of Education and Sports, Queen Elizabeth Highway. It's dated the 30th of September. That's yesterday, by the way, 2022. Dear sir, the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers writes to one, fervently voice its disdain to the current security arrangement that has been instituted in our nation's public schools. Two, inform you that we have been more than accommodating in giving you ample opportunities to liberate us from the reign of terror that is being imposed on us by vandals and or larceners. And three, alert you that we will be taking affirmative action if the appropriate interventions are not instituted immediately. According to our records, the period of September 5, 2022 to September 28, 2022 is marred with 7 incidences of burglary and or vandalism at both primary and secondary educational institutions. Additionally, these acts of burglary and or vandalism were inflicted to educational institutions that are deemed, according to your establishment, highly prone to and not highly prone to being the victim of burglary and or vandalism. Furthermore, the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers is of the belief that you will agree that every time such an incident occurs, it encourages the presence of undesirable consequences that are detrimental to our educational system and the preservation and evolution of our society. For example, the victims are left with varying levels of frustration, anxiety, decrease in morale, and loss of contact time, whilst the perpetrators become increasingly emboldened to continue their onslaught on our educational institutions. Although the incidences of vandalism and larceny are not novel to our nation's schools, the frequency of break-ins dating back to the last academic year 2021-2022 and the travesties associated with acts of vandalism, burning of schools' administrated buildings, which predates the aforementioned period, beckons for us to have more robust security measures instituted into our schools if we are to reduce the frequency of these undesirable occurrences and subvert these onslaughts. However, your response to this perennial problem leaves much to be desired. The Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers investigations have revealed, as of Wednesday, 28 September 2022, over 90% of schools that were identified to receive 24-hour security are still awaiting to receive it. In spite of being given the assurance, both verbally and in writing, that 24-hour security will be instituted by September 15, 2022. Additionally, up to September 29, 2022, a school did not receive any security personnel since its reopening. This dereliction of duties and responsibilities by you, our employer, serve to erode our employers' trust in you in regards to providing a safe and healthy environment. It also leaves our educational institutions too vulnerable to vandals and burglars. Furthermore, the time has come for us to optimize what was conceded over a decade ago in our tripartite agreement, that health and safety of our school. Therefore, the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers is informing you that if there is not 24-hour security in all of our nation's schools by October 3, 2022, we will have no choice but to take industrial action starting on the 4th of October 2022. And this is coming from Mr. Casroy Charles, the president of the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers, and it has been carbon copied to Mr. Darrell Matthew, Minister of Education, Ministry of Education and Sports. There you go, sir.
So the business day ended at 3 o'clock on Friday. This letter apparently was received about 3:45, and the next business day is the fourth. So without giving any time to negotiate additional security, they are threatening security action by the following day, industrial action by the following day. Is that a reasonable position to take? I want to repeat here. Maybe I may have, um, just for the sake of clarity. So the letter threatening potential industrial action was delivered 3:45 on Friday after close of business. The next business day will be the third. And they're saying that if we do not have the security in place by the third, that they will take industrial action against the government by the fourth. And I'm asking the people of Antigua and Barbuda, all of our listeners and viewers, if that is a reasonable position. Now, the other issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
They have been critical of the government, but at the same time, at no point have they issued a press statement condemning these dastardly acts in which our schools have been vandalized, burnt, and burglarized. Not up to now, not a single statement against these criminal elements who are literally terrorizing our school plant. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that based on the frequency, that this is orchestrated. So don't think that these break-ins are happening sporadically as in the past. These are now organized break-ins, and I have no doubt that they are politically motivated. It is the same playbook that we're seeing dating back to 1968,
71.
when members of the PLM burned down girls' school. Remember that? Back in 1968, they burned down boys' school as well. They burned down parts of Green Bay School. They literally brought Severe to his knees, to the extent that he said to Sir George Walter at the time, that he would have resigned. And Sir George Walter kept him there until 1971, just to get enough time to maneuver to take over the leadership of the PLM and became the then premier. Now, they've tried to burn a couple of schools. They literally lit them afire, but I guess because the concrete structure, individuals were able to put out the fires quickly. They tried to burn Clay Hall School, All Saints School. And there'll be other attempts because it is part of that UPP PLM playbook. Mark my word. And what they're trying to do here, they're trying to provoke industrial action by the teachers. And I want to say to the teachers, many of you are innocent. Many of you are too young to know what transpired back in the late 60s and early 70s. And I want to say to you all, do not allow these politically motivated teachers to lead you up a gum tree. And I call out one of them in particular, Jamal Pringle's brother. They say he has been among the most vocal. So he had a meeting with about 40-something teachers with Jamal Pringle's brother moving a resolution to take industrial action. But we have over 1,000 teachers. We probably have maybe about 1,300 teachers. And you're telling me that 40 people can make a determination for 1,300 teachers. I also want to make the point here too that the teachers should not allow those who have their political axe to grind to intimidate them. And I know that the executive of the teachers union, it's two relatively young individuals. We would have met with them. We would have said to them that, look, it is too expensive for us to provide 24-hour security, with maybe 2-3 people manning schools. We can't afford it. Already, just covering the daytime, we are, I'm told, spending about, 15 million. I haven't quite researched this. So we're supposed to go and just automatically double the cost of 15 million. What we said to them we'll do is that we'll put security cameras in all of the schools. And I know that Public Works is procuring them. We said we'll buy vaults for all of the schools so they can put their valuables, if they have laptops and, trophies and so on that they want to secure, they can put them away. So it's not to say that we're not working with them. We even got Purcell in and we told Purcell, look, wherever there are gaps, in the school system, make sure at least during the day, when the teachers and so on are there, that they have security to make sure that the teachers are secured. Now, in the letter, they said there's one school that has no security. I'll give an undertaking now that first thing next week we'll have that resolved. But this idea that they want to hold us hostage to fortune and to pick a fight with us on the eve of an election, we know exactly what is happening, and we want to ask them to cease and desist. We want to also suggest to them that they get legal advice, because they may well be in violation of the Civil Service Act of 1984. And I also want them to know, all teachers to know, that we expect nothing but the highest level of professionalism from them. So when the few among the teaching body decide that they want to enter politics and to help their brother or their political party to improve the prospects by creating chaos and confusion within the teaching profession, just know precisely what is happening there. And I'm asking, the teachers, generally speaking, who are well intentioned, not to follow those few, because their intentions are bad. This happened before with the same Chaco Walker and Harold Lovell during the teachers' strike. That was in 1978.
74, if I'm correct. 73, 74, I think.
I think it's a little later than that. But anyway, the point I'm making here is that it is part of their playbook. And they deliberately, what's the probability of practically every single night a public school gets broken into, but all the private schools in the country that have more facilities, have more computers and so on, nobody touching them? What's the probability of that happening? It is politically orchestrated, and it has happened before. So I'm saying to the people of Antigua and Barbuda that, we're going to resist any excesses coming from these people. In fact, I want to make the point here too that, we will certainly put in some patrols, police and army patrols around our schools, because we're going to catch one or two of them. No, trust me, we're going to catch them and they're going to squeal. We're going to know which politicians are behind this type of vandalism and burglarization of our schools. In fact, it's mostly vandalism. I'm told that in some instances they're just going to the school and defecate in the school.
Yes.
So they haven't taken anything, or they break up doors and different stuff within the school. So it is a serious problem, and I don't think that teachers should allow politics to come into the educational space. Educating our children must be a priority, and those of you who are using this issue of security to get involved in the political space and to put pressure on the government, I want to say to you that you're very wrong, and that you may well be prejudicing your employment. We don't want any fight with the teachers. We respect you, we respect your contribution to our society, but just understand that there are some political ones among you who obviously have their political agendas, and be aware. And don't let them drag you into any industrial action and to undermine the education of our children. So again, I just want to appeal to them. I want to suggest to them too that, whereas we accept that they have the right of protestation, please get legal advice on the issue of the Civil Service Act of 1984, and to make sure that they do not become engaged in any illegal action or actions.
Well,